How does windage affect close-quarters boat maneuvering? Imagine trying to park a boat in a tight marina slip while a strong breeze blows from the side. Windage is what makes that task more challenging, especially when you are close to other boats or docks. Windage refers to the force of the wind acting on the parts of a boat that stick out above the waterline, like the hull, superstructure, or rigging. When you are maneuvering in tight spaces, this force can push your boat sideways or cause it to rotate unexpectedly. When your boat is not moving or moving very slowly, the pivot point, the spot around which the boat turns, is usually near the middle of the hull. If the wind hits from the side, or what we call the beam, the wind's force and the pivot point are close together. This means the boat tends to drift sideways rather than spin around. This sideways drift can make it hard to stay on your intended path, especially when trying to line up with a dock. As you start moving forward, the pivot point shifts toward the bow, or the front of the boat. This creates a lever arm between where the wind pushes and the pivot point, which can cause the bow to swing into or away from the wind. This effect makes steering trickier because you need to constantly adjust your steering to keep the boat on course. When moving slowly or at a standstill, the pivot point moves even further forward, making the boat more sensitive to wind. You will need to give more steering corrections to maintain control. In reverse, the pivot point shifts toward the stern or back of the boat. This reverses how the wind affects your boat's direction. Controlling your boat in reverse becomes especially difficult when windage is strong because the bow can be pushed off course unexpectedly. In practical terms, windage impacts close-quarters handling in many ways. The bow, often lighter and with more exposed surfaces, is more likely to be pushed sideways by the wind. This can cause the bow to blow off your intended line, requiring you to use more power and steering to keep it aligned. When slowing down or stopping, windage can cause a loss of steerage, making it harder to control your boat as you approach a dock. Docking in a headwind is usually easier because the wind helps slow your boat and keeps it aligned with the dock. But crosswinds or tailwinds push your boat sideways or increase your speed, which demands more precise steering and timing. Skilled boat handlers often angle the bow slightly into the wind before making contact with the dock or when changing gears. They may also approach on the quarter rather than the bow to reduce the effect of windage. Understanding how wind acts on your boat and how the pivot point shifts with speed helps you anticipate and counteract drift or yaw caused by wind. Adjusting your approach angles, controlling your speed, and using power and steering inputs carefully can help you keep your boat on the right track, even in windy conditions. With practice, you can master close-quarters maneuvering despite the challenges windage presents.